Is our first keynote speaker today, and he's probably one of the most highly anticipated speakers of the entire week. And when I met him earlier this morning, he said, just introduce me as, what was it? The strange man from Japan. He's from the University of Osaka, and we're not going to call him the strange man from Japan. We're going to just say, give a warm round of applause to Mr. Hiroshi Ishiguro.
So thank you for the kind introduction. So this is my great honor to speak in this very, very big exhibitions and the conference. Today's my title is Android and Robots and Our Future Life. So I'm going to show you the some possibilities of a robot and Android, which is which can interact with people. Okay. So let me start with this picture. Actually, this is my copies. Right. I'm not Android today, but this picture, this is my Android, my copies. Actually, this Android is very convenient. So once we teleoperate this Android through the internet, the teleoperation works like this. Okay, so I'm just watching on monitors and then talk. So we have a technology to generate natural lip movement, head movement, body movement by analyzing the Android voice. Okay, then the Android moves according to my voice. This is a very, very simple, easy teleoperation system. So therefore, I'm using this teleoperation system for giving a lecture in foreign countries. Okay. So actually, this is the fourth generation Android of myself. And fourth generation's feature is we can decompose into the three pieces: upper torso and lower torso and head. And we can travel by airplane. Okay. So actually, I'm traveling with this Android because if I'm here, right, we don't need an Android, right? But if I'm so busy. Right. In such case, my young researchers or young staff is bringing this Android for the foreign countries in a conference and assembling the robot in a conference site, and Android is giving lectures. So this is a good idea, isn't it? Right. So and then, actually, this idea works very well, but at the same time, I have a very serious problem. So who has the identity of myself? What is the identities, all right? So actually, the conference organizer always want to have my Android, okay? And so the reason is that there are two merits. The first merit is not to invite me. Always I'm asking a business class flight. It's expensive. But Android can come with my younger researchers with economy class. It's much cheaper, right? The second merit is if I'm here, nothing happened after this. Of course, and I can answer to the interviews, but you cannot see the robot. But if a robot, the Android give lectures, after the lectures, you can touch to the robot, and you can see what happens in the inside of the bodies. Okay? So, but probably you are not interested in my body, right? You don't like to touch my body. But if a robot is here, obviously you want to touch to the robot. Okay? So if you have a robot here, the content is double. The price is half. Therefore, the conference organizer likes to have my Android. So anyway, then we're going to have this very serious question: what is identity? Who has my identities? Is it the Ishiguro or the Geminoid? Right. So once we create very human-like robot like that, so we can touch to this kind of very philosophical, fundamental issues as a humans. Okay. Of course, in cognitive science and neuroscience, they are studying about the human itself, but they are focusing on the very low-level, partial function of a human brains, right? So they cannot touch to the more meta-level fundamental issues like consciousness, identities, emotions, or and heart and mind, right? So, but if we use this very human-like Android, actually we can touch to that kind of fundamental questions. That is a merit. That is, that is why I'm studying the very human-like robot. Of course, right? My purpose is not just for finding some the scientific things, but to find some important fundamental ideas for developing an interactive system. Okay, so in this talk, I'm gonna explain what kind of findings we can have. So by developing this, the very human-like robot. So anyway, so I guess you guys are interested in the inside of this baggage. Okay, these are check-in baggage, but this is the carry-on. Carry-on means this is the head, right? This is upper torso and lower torso. This is the head. Head is very fragile. Therefore, we need to carry the head on the airplanes. The question is how we can pass the security gate, right? So this is, the inside of a baggage, right? So the problem is this guy, right? Then maybe it was in 2007, the first time to bring my Android into Europe, we were very, very nervous because we needed to pass the security gate with a human head. But in 2004, when I have developed a very human-like Android, we have appeared the many TVs, National Geographic and Discovery and BBCs, and actually there's people working in a security gate. They know the technology very well, and we didn't have any problems with the Android head. So anyway, so by using these technologies, Android technologies and other robot technologies, the near futures, I really think we're going to have robot societies. So robot societies, this is my imagination. So as you know, we have a lot of robots in the industries. But in addition to that, in near futures, we're going to use the human-like robot, interactive robot in our daily situations. Okay, so that is our future, I think. So in order to develop this kind of features, I started a robot project in a university in 2000, and then so we have spent more than 17 years, and we have created so many different types of human-like robots, interactive robots. But they are a kind of humanoids or androids. Android means a very human-like robot. So question is, why do we use humanoids, human-like robots? So answer is very simple. The human has brain that recognize humans, okay? So therefore, the ideal interface for humans are human. So this is the reason. Okay? This is a very, very strong reason. So everything is going to be more human-like, right? So that is, the way of technology development. Okay. So I think, Pepper, probably, Pepper robot is coming to these exhibitions, I guess. So, the Pepper is not the first interactive robot, okay? But, important contribution of a Pepper robot is, this was a kind of a personal robot. The performance is pretty good, but the price is much cheaper than other robots, right? So in order to have robot societies, we need to have a very cheap but high-performance robot, like a Peppers. SoftBank, they did the big challenge. Okay, so we are also, taking a new challenge with this small robot. It's called a Commute. Pepper is much bigger than this robot. The Pepper size is about maybe 110 centimeters or 120 centimeters, right? So that is good for the shops, some public places, but Pepper is not so good for the home use, I think. It's too big, right? For the home use, I think this kind of a small robot is much better.
I am a communication robot called Commune.
Okay. One more time.
I am a communication robot called Commu. I love to talk. It's so much fun to talk. We will be widely used in society near future. Look forward to it.
So this is a very simple demonstrations, but so actually we can develop this kind of features with this robot.
おはよ
おはようございます。
So
今日は
if we live
燃えるゴミ
alone,
の日だよ。
we want to have some
Oyasumi.
partners. So robot can be a kind of a conversational partners,
今晩は少し寒いから
and
暖かくして寝てね。
we can consider so many possibilities. But probably the most important, the idea is to use this robot as English teachers in Japan, right? So Japanese student studying the more than 11 years
しょうがないな
for the English, 11 years, but they cannot speak in English, right? They can read and write, but they cannot speak. It's quite strange,
Good morning.
right? Because we don't have enough number of foreigners in Japan, and they are very shy. But if we give this robot to the student, I think a student can have more opportunities to speak in English, right? And actually, students they never hesitate to interact with a robot. So robot is much better than the human teachers, I think. Okay. Now, another interesting idea is someone is using this robot in a kindergarten. Robot role is to take pictures. So robot has the camera on the head, and this robot and some other robot is taking a lot of pictures of children and uploading the pictures on the website. And parents can buy the pictures. Actually, parents are crazy for buying the pictures, right? That person is earning more than $1 million every year,
ただい
right?
ま
So robot can earn the monies, okay? So for many other applications we can consider. So, and of course, the robot can be a good conversation partner for the elderlies, and of course, we can use the robot in a public place. After 4 years actually, we're gonna have an Olympic game in Tokyo, right? We need to accept the many foreigners in Japan, but the Japanese people are not so good for speaking in English. Of course, speaking in the Japanese, some other European languages, right? But how we can communicate with foreign people? Probably the robot can help. It's easy to develop a multi-language function for the robot. Okay, so I think the robot will be a kind of a key technologies for accepting the foreign people in Tokyo Olympic Games. So anyways, by using this kind of personal robots and of course the more complicated, the more sophisticated human-like android, we're going to have a robot society in the very near future, I think. So in order to have these robot societies, so we are studying the robotics in the laboratories in Osaka University and the ATR Hiroshi Ishiguro research laboratories. But our policies for the research is probably different from other roboticists. So our purpose is to understand what human is. So our robotics is for understanding humans. So that is a difference from others. So develop the human-like robots based on the knowledge in the cognitive science and neuroscience, probably, and verify the hypothesis in the cognitive science by using the robot. So that is what we are doing, okay? So in 2000, I worked with many other researchers in the United States and Europe for developing a new research areas called interactions. So before our activities, we have two major topics in robotics. One is navigation, the other is manipulations. Navigation is for developing an automated car, right? Google car, or that kind of perfectly autonomous cars. That research is called navigation. The another topic is manipulations. Manipulation is to control the manipulators that works in the factories, right? But in addition to the navigation and manipulations, we have proposed interactions. So we consider that it's time to apply the robot technologies in the daily situations, right? But what's the difference between daily situations and the factories? So that is the humans. The robot need to interact with the humans, okay? So in order to investigate the relationships between robots and humans, so we have launched the conference called the Human Robot Interactions and Journals, and I developed these human-like robots. So the important features of this new robotics is human science is tightly coupled with engineering. Okay, by using a robot, we can get some knowledge about humans, and then we can use that knowledge for improving the robot. Okay, so that is what we are doing. Okay. So let me introduce the various robots working in the societies right now. Okay, this is a very simple applications, but of course we can improve more and more. So mainly I'm going to talk about the application of a very human-like robot called Android. So the first application is this is a very straightforward applications. In Japan, we have living national treasures. And actually, he is a very famous comic storyteller, rakugo player, right? He is very, very famous, but unfortunately, he passed away. But just before he passed away, we made his Android. So this is a way of archiving. Our purpose is to archive his professional play with Android. Okay. And of course, the Android works very well, and Android they can play his professional rakugo play, and the people they can enjoy. Okay, and so this is a very well interesting the application of the Android. Still, the Android is playing the rakugos and inviting so many people. Probably the Android is much better than the original persons, right? When he gets old, and he was not so active. But with this Android, right, he could invite more people again, right? And actually, the Android appearance is much younger than the original person. Okay. So I just talk about identities, right? Probably this is his identities, When we have created his Android, he was so old. He was about 90 years, right? But probably this face, this little bit younger face, well, maybe when he was 70 years old, he appeared the Japanese TV every day, right? Everybody know this face. So this is his identity, I think, right? So what I want to say here, so if we create an Android of the famous persons, in the peak of identities, right, that person can survive forever as the Android. So the example is the show windows. Original show windows, we used to use a very human-like mannequins. Recently, we are using a kind of a robot-like, very simplified mannequins, but the original mannequin was so human-like. But with very human-like Android, we can go back to the original ideas. We have carefully implemented the human-like emotions, right? And this is a show windows. There is a glass between the Android and the visitor. Therefore, Android, does not need to recognize the human voice. But Android can see that, Android has the cameras and carefully observing the reaction of people and observing the facial expressions and taking reactions and smiling like this, right? If the Android smile like this, and everybody smile back, right? That's very funny. Okay. And Android is also playing as idols, right? So this is a real story in Japan, okay? So we are seriously running the idol project, idol singer project in Japan with this beautiful android. So what is a beauty, right? Again, so once we create a very human-like robot, we can touch to the very serious question about humans. So how do you define the beauty? What is beauty for the humans, okay? So for the beautiful person, the idol singers or idol, always we have this kind of imaginations. They never get tired. Always they are smiling and they never go to the toilet. That is not human. But Android, robot, Android does not need to go to the toilet. Always smiling, right? So probably that this is the ideally beautiful Android. Humans, okay? Android can be ideally beautiful persons. And Android theaters. This Android theater is very, very popular in Europe. We have started this project in France, and we have visited Germany and Italy, Austria, and so now and Moscow and Russia and United States, many places, and always we are getting pretty good reputations. The important thing is this is a very, very simple applications. There is no artificial intelligence. Android just replay the recorded voice and behaviors, but still audience. Everybody could feel the human-like heart and the mind by watching these theaters. That is the point. Okay? Recently, we made movies. So what's the difference with the Hollywood movies? For the Hollywood robot movies, they are using a lot of computer graphics technologies, but we are not using. Right? We are just using the real Android. Therefore, we can feel the realities about these stories. Okay? It's quite realistic. But Hollywood movies, they are using a lot of computer graphics and representing the impossible features. But this is a possible feature, I think. Again, so what is the important issues as for the humans? So that is what the heart and the mind, right? So always Android gives us important questions about the humans. So that is the most important features of Android studies. Shopkeeper Android. Last year, this Android was selling a lot of clothes in a department store in Japan, Osaka, and she was much better than the human shopkeepers, right? Much better than the human shopkeepers in the comparison of total sales, right? So it is difficult to perfectly compare the human and the Android because the Android cannot work and Android cannot sell so many kinds of clothes, right? So that means Android has a kind of a handicap, but still, total sales is much better than the average of human shopkeepers, right? So the trick is like this. Here we are not using voice recognition for this Android. What we are using is, usually the department store is very noisy. We cannot use a voice recognition. So we are using a touch panel conversational systems. So the visitor can choose one of the questions, and then the computer read the questions. Then Android answer to that questions. So this system actually works very well. And then, Android could sell a lot of clothes. I really think, the department stores is going to use more Android. So there are two reasons why Android could sell so many clothes. The first reason is usually for the men, we hesitate to talk with the human shopkeepers. If we talk to the human shopkeepers, that means we have an intention to buy something, right? Usually, we hesitate, right? But if a human shopkeeper is Android, we never hesitate. We consider that, oh, she's an Android. We can reject her offer at any time, easily. Okay. The second reason is, if human shopkeeper say so many positive things you are so cute, you are so handsome, right? So the clothes is perfectly matching you, right? Then we have a doubt. Always we have a doubt. But if a robot or android speaks the same things, we never have a doubt. We considered robot and android never tell a lie. Okay? So that is the reason. All right? So the people accept very well the positive opinions given by android. Okay, so anyways, so I really think in near future we're going to use more android or robot in the department stores. So and the 1 year ago, well, we were running the TV program with Android. So we did so many field tests with the TV staff. So what's happened if we have an Android in our life? So that was the main theme. We did so many experiments, and we had so many positive opinions from the societies. Okay, so let's move on to the important findings with this very human-like robot, right? What kind of important findings we can have with the human-like android? So let me go back to the original ideas, original robot. That is my copy. So my copy is a teleoperated android. Okay, it is not artificial intelligence. All right. And then I said that I'm using this android for giving a lecture. All right. So it's quite realistic. Of course, the people can find the difference between myself and android. But once we start to talk, right? Everybody naturally accepts this android as myself. So that is, the effect of a human-like appearance. And in addition to that, if someone touches to the android bodies, the operators, in this case is myself, I can have a very strong feeling to be touched. All right? And so that means that, if we teleoperate the android and have a conversation with the people in a distant place. So we naturally accept the android body as our own bodies. We can connect the brain and android bodies. So that is a possibility, another possibility of these technologies. And of course, we can combine the android with the brain-machine interface. Here. By using a brain-machine interface, the operator is controlling the android bodies, right? We cannot have the precise control. The controller is just a left or right. Move a left arm or right arm, that kind of very simple control. But still, the operator can accept the android body as his own body. Operator is not moving, just thinking, right? So the possibility is handicapped people who cannot move their body at all. That kind of person can use this android as his or her own bodies and works in the societies. So anyway, what I want to talk here is how do we recognize this very human-like robot or android? Okay, suppose that this is the observer, right? So observer is observing my android, and observer has some ideas about myself, right? Suppose that he or she knows me, right? And observing the android of myself. So in this case, the observer carefully compared each modalities, appearance and movement and the talks, right? If one of the modality is not human-like, is not for myself, so suddenly, the observer has the negative feeling. It's uncanny valleys. If my movement is jerky, okay, so you may think I'm sick, right? And you may have some uncanny feeling for the robot, right? So this is a recognition based on the observations, okay. So, well. But the problem of the very human-like android is, this android is not so good. Is not good for everybody. especially for the young children. Young children are afraid to talk with the adult men. Especially my facial expression is too strong for the young children. It's always young children scares my face. Okay, then and then I considered what is the best, what is the robot accepted by everybody, right? What is the best design for that kind of a robot? So this is my answers, my solutions. I have replaced my Android with this quite neutral appearance. We cannot tell the age and genders. If the shape is symmetrical, right? So gender disappears. If we have a design with the adult part and with the child ratio between the head and the face or something, right? So that we can erase the age. So I have applied that kind of idea for the appearance of the Android and the robots. So this robot looks like a humans, but we cannot tell the age and gender. This is quite neutral. Actually, the robot can maximize the imagination of the observers, right? The voice is a human, right? But appearance is quite neutral. In such case, we need to compensate our observations by using imaginations. Okay, so this is the recognition based on the imagination, and usually our imagination is always positive. We never have a negative imaginations. If we have a negative imaginations, so that is a kind of depressed person. Okay, so let me give you an example. This is a very typical example. She is kind of dementia. She never talked with real humans, right? But she could talk with this, the robots with a neutral appearance, right? As you know, the dementia people and the very old elderlies, they hesitate to talk to the real humans. Okay. But they didn't hesitate to talk with this new robots, teleoperated robot with a neutral appearance. Okay. They are using a positive imagination by hearing the human-like voice. Okay. So please imagine that what's happened when you make a phone call to the call centers for some companies, right? You just listen some unknown voice, but unknown voice sounds like a beautiful or smart man, woman. Okay, you never have a negative imagination, right? So the same things happen here. Actually, no exceptions, right? We did a field test in Denmark, Germany. Now we are running the field test in Frankfurt, and Italy, and the many countries in Europe and Japan and the United States. Right? No exceptions. Always, elderlies, dementia people, right? They love to interact with this robot. The robot name is a Telenoid. Okay, and this is some pictures from the Danish municipalities, and they have best welfare services in the world, and they love to use this robot. So anyway, this robot works very well. So the important thing is, my appearance is not so good, right? But this simplified robot is much better than the very human-like robot. Then I got another questions. What is a minimal media to transfer the human presence? Actually, this is another point of this robot is this is totally different from a telephone call, right? The people can feel the presence of the speakers. They are not lonely with this robot. The telephone call, right? Usually, the elderlies they feel the loneliness after the telephone call, but they don't feel any loneliness. After the conversations, interaction with this robot, they are really feeling the presence of the person, of speakers. The question is, what is the minimal media, the minimal conditions? So this is my answers. right? So this is not robot anymore. This is just a kind of a pillow, huggable pillows, right? Okay, and this is just huggable pillows, but with the smartphones. It's smartphone holders. Okay, but totally different from smartphones. We can have a very strong feeling to hug each other by using this one, right? It's very strong feeling. We have tested the two conditions. One is the phone condition, the other is the Hugvie conditions, right? We checked the hormone in the blood and the salivas. Okay. As a result, so this is our findings. So we could reduce the cortisol significantly. Cortisol is a stress hormone. If we could reduce the level of cortisol, that means the person can relax very much. Okay, so this is a very clear result. Our paper appeared in a scientific report in 2013. So anyway, so this is my answers. What is the minimal design to transfer the human presence? What is the minimal design to maximize human imagination about the presence of the person? So, two modalities. If the robot or medias, information media has the two modalities. Hugvie's case, our pillow smartphone holders, the case is two modalities, the voice and the tactile sensations. It's huggable, and we can hear the voice through the smartphones. The two modalities are enough. Okay. Then, the people can feel the very realistic presence of the persons. Of course, we can consider the different combinations, appearance and tactile sensations, and smell and tactile sensations, and the voice and the sensations, smell sensations. Okay, so this is a very, very fundamental ideas. All right, so in order to develop some interactive, human-friendly medias on the robots, I think you can apply these ideas, right? And let me give you the one more interesting application. So this is a first grade class in elementary school. They are very, very noisy, right? In a kindergarten, teachers and the parents treat the children very carefully. But in elementary school, the children need to work with many other friends, right? Therefore, they are a little bit nervous, right? And these children are listening to the teacher's talk, but these are not. Then, we give a Hugvie to everybody and transmit the teacher's voice through the Hugvies. So this is a result. Okay. They could concentrate on the teacher's talk. This is the effect. Very, very powerful effect of Hugvies. Okay. So this is one more example, right? And she cannot sleep alone, right? She's too young, right? So how we can help these situations? Right? Her mother is washing the dishes and just talking through the smartphones by using a headset, and the small Hugvies. There is a smartphone inside, and she listening the mother's voice. And she could concentrate on the mother's voice, and she could sleep, right? This is a very, very convenient tool, right? So if you come to Japan, actually, you can buy this Hugvies, right, on the internet. But unfortunately, we are not selling it in Germany. Sorry. But if you have a chance to come to Japan, then please buy this. Okay. So, what is our current challenge? Of course, our goal is to develop autonomous conversational robots. So let me show you our current challenge in the end of this talk. So I have explained about the possibility of interactive robots. It's teleoperated Android and the teleoperated robots, and of course, I have shown several of the autonomous Android, but for that and the Android, for example, the Android works in theaters and movies. We are not using the artificial intelligence technologies, But of course, our purpose is to replace this human operator with the computers. How we can do that? So basically, there are two approaches. One is a big data approach, and the other is a story-based approach. So big data approach, as you know that, so this is, big data is a collection of a simple conversational patterns through the internet for unlimited topics, okay? And we can have a chatbot or, some AI technologies such as Watsons. So chatbot is very popular, right? Microsoft and Apple's, Google's, well, everybody is developing a chatbot based on the big data. So we are doing the same things. So we are working with the NTTs. NTT is the biggest the telecom company in Japan. They have pretty good technologies for this kind of, the conversation, technology for the conversations. And then, another approach is a story-based approaches. A story should be written by writers, a kind of professional writers. But if we take the story-based approach, we can have more deeper conversations for the limited topics. That is the difference, right? Simple conversations for the unlimited topics, or deeper conversations for the very limited topics. Okay. So we have taken the big data approaches last year in South by Southwest. I guess you guys know the South by Southwest, that this is the biggest event for interactive and movies and music in the United States, in Austin. Okay, and we have integrated our technologies. The Android technologies and some software technologies for controlling the Android, and the technologies developed by NTTs, microarrays and voice recognitions and chatbot. Okay, and we have developed this system.
Well, I'm Hiroshi Ishiguro. Your name?
My name is Courtney Ray. Where are you from?
Okay, I'm from Osaka, Japan. Where is your birthplace?
I was born in Texas.
Right. Did you know there are actually 2 time zones in Texas?
I did not.
I see. El Paso and Hot Springs are the only counties in Mountain Time. Isn't that annoying?
That's so annoying.
Right. Which time zones are you the most familiar with?
Central Standard Time.
Well, it must keep you busy.
Very busy. What is your name?
Okay, so, and this was very successful, right? But, again, this is a very simple chatbot. It's a combination of simple the question and answers. So we can cover the unlimited topics, but, the Android never understand the deep meaning of conversations. This is just, replay of simple patterns, okay? Still, but we can enjoy the conversation if we get drunk, right? So, for example. But anyway, so we have appeared in the first page of USA Today's. But and the USA Today said Telenoid and Noid you showed in the Robot Society at South by Southwest, right? I think US people were not so positive for the Android technology, but finally I think they have recognized the possibility of robot and Android technologies, right? So anyway, this was a good success. Then last week, actually, 2 weeks ago, actually, we were in South by Southwest again. Okay, and this year we did a more difficult challenge. So last year, our purpose to develop chatbot-based conversational robot. But this year, our purpose was to develop a discussion dialogue system, right? So robots are discussing with people. How we can develop that kind of a system? let me show you the first example.
Do you want to have a discussion on which is the better Japanese meal, sushi versus ramen?
Yes.
Let's start discussion. Sushi is chosen over ramen.
But, when going on a date it is better to order sushi than ramen. Sushi offers more chances to talk.
Does sushi offer more chances to talk?
Sushi comes out dish by dish, so there is time in between dishes. You can talk when you aren't eating.
I think sushi is healthy.
Unhealthy ramen can lead to health risks.
Well, I see.
This is fully autonomous.
What's more, sushi
No
chefs
control.
have more expertise. In Japan, some possible reasons chefs
the
are
human can
respected
talk
could
anytime.
be skill, tradition,
Right.
or social status, but skill seems the best reason. Japanese people respect sushi chefs. Do you want to have a discussion on which is the better
See? Well, the trick is like this. Now, this is a kind of a chat-based approach, but we are just limiting sushi versus ramen. So, of course, we have different topics, like West Coast versus East Coast, or some, the Clinton versus Trump or something, right? But in this example, we have prepared a lot of reasons which is better, sushi or ramen, okay? And it's a kind of a big data approach, right? But if we limit just for the two topics, okay? So what is a discussion? Discussion is to show the some reasons each other, okay? Therefore, if we limit the topics for just the two things, all right? And even if we take a chatbot approach, it sounds like a discussion, real discussions. In addition, the people can join anytime. Okay? So if the people speak something, the two robots stop to talk, and they recognize the human's voice, and they choose some related answers or related questions. And then they continue. So this system, going to this, they can discuss 1 hour about the sushi versus ramen. Can you do that? All right. Actually, robot can have a much knowledge of more better knowledge than yours, especially for the ramen versus sushi. Okay. So and the visitor could enjoy the discussion very much. Right. This is a perfectly autonomous system. Right. So by limiting the topics, the chat became a discussion. Okay, then we can have a more intelligent the conversations. This is a totally different approach. So you guys probably consider that, right? In order to have a human-like interaction with a robot, so robot need to have some human level intelligence, then the human robot can generate some pattern of a conversation. It is not true. So we can start from a very simple approach, chatbot approach. Then, that we can give some, constraint for the discussions. We can add some knowledge, some technologies. Then, chatbot, the conversation going to be a more human level conversation. At least we can have application for each levels, right? Once we develop a practical conversational system, so everybody, right, try to improve the system. The most important thing is to start with a very practical system, okay? So,
do you want?
And that system is developed by entities, right? NTT developed that casual discussion dialogue system. But the Osaka University, our teams developed this one.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's move on to next topic. We're going to look at the difference between humans and robots. What do you think the difference between humans and robots is?
The difference.
Yes, Android U. What do you think is different?
Well, I think their hearts and appearances are different. What do you think is different?
I think humans and robots are physically very different.
The physical difference is obviously great. I long for a living human body. You look like a human anyhow.
Ha ha ha, maybe so. But I don't think there's a need to include the living body in the definition of the human body.
What, the living body?
Yeah. It's a mass of cells.
That's what you mean. But the difference between a living body or a machine is great, isn't it?
I don't think so it is.
Well, our
What?
approach is a little bit more
I think
story-based
they are
approach.
different.
So this is a very, very
Of
deep
course,
discussions,
I think
and a
they
little
are
bit difficult
different.
to follow.
But I
normal
want to
people,
say that
right?
the difference is
but you know,
negligible.
Come
Come on, be honest,
in this
you
system,
humans don't need living bodies, do
the
you?
visitor cannot
It
join
depends.
any time, right? You know, when the robot asks questions, then the visitor can answer, can give the answers, or can give some questions,
Well,
right? But
I
that is the
don't know.
demerit. But the merit is we
For
can have
example,
a very deep discussion
humans
about
have
as
prosthetic feet
that they are
and
talking.
hands,
So
right?
their topics is what human is, right?
So, for example, 20% of that user's body would not be living,
And
would it?
we did a kind of a competitions, which is better, which is
Yes.
more,
Anyway, but those people are
how can I
still
say, the human
human,
right
right?
conversations. Actually, well, the result of a questionnaires, our approach is probably a little bit better than the NTT approach. But of course, an NTT approach is good for the children, but depends on the people. But anyway, so again, we have appeared in the first page of USA Today this time, right? First day and the second day both, right? So that means the people are quite interested in this kind of conversational technologies. Okay. Then let me move on to the story-based approach. And story-based approach, the approach with the two robots, Android and robots and humans. And our approach was a kind of a story-based approach. It's a combination in between the big data approaches and chatbot plus the story-based approach. But here, I'm going to show you the perfectly story-based approach. So actually, we are running a big project. It's called JST Erato. This is the biggest funding in Japan, and our purpose is to deeply study about the human-robot interactions. And one of our goal is to implement the intention desire to the Android. Okay, so far, we didn't care about the intention desires, right? But if we expect the Android has very human-like emotions, I think it's important to give a desire to the Android. So how we can develop more human-friendly robots and Android? And if we can share the intentions, we can have a more tight relationships. So suppose you can guess that the robot understands your intentions and take some actions, right? So probably you want to have that kind of Android or robot. So that is our goal. So in order to develop these graphical models, we have developed the interaction. It's kind of editors. It's called the interaction composers. So by using these interaction composers, right, we are developing the very complicated the program for the robots, the Android.
Let's learn a little about each other.
Then I'm going to show you a
start
couple
off,
of
where are you from?
examples.
I'm from Canada.
Wow, Canada's quite far away.
So everything is synthesized,
It's pretty cold there,
right? This is
eh?
not recorded voice. It's a
I'm from
synthesized
Japan,
voice.
much
Of course,
like
the
many
synthesized
other
facial
advanced
expressions,
androids and robots.
right?
There are so many great applications for these robots. Whether it's helping the elderly, guiding tourists, or even for entertainment, it's all very exciting. Oh, sorry about that. I got a little carried away. So, Nick, what do you do for a living?
I'm a student.
Oh, you're a student? You know, robots could be quite helpful for students. We have the advantage of the perfect and vast memory of a computer, while also having the ability to be interactive and responsive like a human teacher. So, Nick, would you like having a robot like me as a teacher?
No, I don't think so. I'd probably rather just have a normal teacher.
Excuse me? I've already explained why I would be better than a human teacher or self-learning. Are you sure you wouldn't want me as a teacher?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Are you serious? I wonder if everyone from Canada is so narrow-minded about robots. I'm done talking to you. Please don't come speak with me again.
Right, she's so emotional, right? And well, we are developing so many scenarios for this robot, and actually we can enjoy the conversation with the robot maybe around 10 minutes, right? So that is the current limitation. So we are improving more, and well, we try to cover the more topics, but it's quite fun. To talk with Android. So anyway, by using these technologies and by using these small robot technologies and very human-like robot technologies, I think in near future we're going to have robot societies. Thank you very much.
We want to do a little flash poll here with the audience. Raise your hands if you think humanoid robots would decrease our humanity. All right, so raise your hands if you think that they would increase humanity's humanity. Raise your hands if you think they won't make a difference at all. Okay, so it's about the same there. You are going to be available this afternoon for people to come and talk with you, right?
Yes.
If you've got questions for Hiroshi, you can meet, I've been told to meet at the check-in counter at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Right. And you'll be able to ask him all the questions you want. And I think we are pressed for time now, so we are not going to do any Q&A right now. So I'll say, Hiroshi, thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you. Give him a round of applause.
Thank you very much.